Assalamualaikum to our beloved lecturer, Sewan. We are from Group 2, 8024068. So, today we will be presenting our assignment titled Human-Wildlife Conflict and Habitat Fragmentation, the Impact of Oil Palm Expansion on Orangutan in Southeast Asia. My name is Aziad Marudin bin Yunus, and together with my group members, we will explain how the rapid expansion of oil palm plantation has affected orangutan habitat, the causes of human-orangutan conflict, and the conservation strategies that can help reduce this conflict while supporting sustainable development. Now, let's begin with the introduction. So, before we discuss orangutan specifically, it is important to understand what human-wildlife conflict means. Human-wildlife conflict, or HWC, occur when human activity overlaps with wildlife habitat, causing negative impact on both human and animals. This problem is becoming more common around the world, especially in areas where forests are converted into agricultural land. In Southeast Asia, one of the biggest drivers of habitat loss is the rapid expansion of oil palm plantation. As global demand for palm oil continue to increase, more tropical rainforests are cleared to establish plantation. Unfortunately, these forests are the natural habitat of orangutan, particularly in Borneo and Sumatra. When these forests disappear, orangutan lose their food source, nesting areas, and movement corridor. As the result, they are forced to enter nearby plantation in search of food, increasing encounters with humans. Therefore, this presentation focuses on how oil palm expansion contribute to habitat fragmentation, how it lead to human orangutan conflict, and what conservation strategy can help reduce this problem. So, now we understand the issue of human-wildlife conflict. Let's first look at why the oil palm industry has expanded so rapidly in Southeast Asia. The oil palm industry is one of the most important agricultural industry in Southeast Asia, especially in Malaysia and Indonesia. Together, these two countries produce around 85% of the world's palm oil, making them the leading global producer. Palm oil is widely used because it is inexpensive, efficient, and highly versatile. We can find it in cooking oil, processed food, cosmetic, soap, detergent, and even biofuel. Economically, the industry provides many benefits. It generates billions of dollars in export revenue, creates employment opportunities, and contributes significantly to rural development, especially in Sabah and Sarawak. However, despite this economic benefit, there are also serious environmental consequences. To meet increasing global demand, large areas of tropical rainforests have been cleared and replaced with monoculture oil palm plantation. This process destroys natural ecosystem, reduce biodiversity, and threaten wildlife species such as orangutan. Therefore, the main challenge today is balancing economic development with environmental sustainability. Now, let's move on to plantation expansion and habitat fragmentation. Habitat fragmentation occurs when a large continuous forest is divided into many smaller and isolated patches. In the past, orangutan could move freely through connected forests to search for food, find mates, and build nests. However, when forests are cleared for oil palm plantation, these connections are broken. As shown on this slide, fragmentation creates several major problems. First, orangutan have less access to their natural food source because many fruit-producing trees are removed. Second, isolated forest patch make it difficult for orangutan to move between habitat, reducing opportunities for breeding and increasing genetic isolation. Third, fragmented habitat expose orangutan to more human activities, including roads, machinery, and plantation. This increases the likelihood of accident, hunting, and conflict with humans. Research has shown that orangutan population living in fragmentation forests are much smaller than those living in large connected forests. This demonstrates that habitat fragmentation seriously threatens the long-term survival of the species.
So, moving forward, let us examine the core mechanism driving the conflict between human and orangutan. So, this issue primarily manifests through three interconnected challenges. First, we see significant crop damage as their natural habitat diminish. So, orangutan frequently enter agricultural plantation in search of food. This leads to the consumption of plant fruit and substantial damage to young palm, directly impacting agricultural yield. The second one is this overlap create threat to plantation worker, culturally and physically encountered with large wild animal cause understandable fear among workers, especially since orangutan are often misunderstood as inherently dangerous or aggressive. And finally, this factor accumulate in retaliatory killing driven by economic losses and perceived threat to safety. Farmer and landowner may injure or killing orangutan to protect their crop. Consequently, this tragic cycle caused orangutan population number to continually decline. Okay, to address this critical conflict, we must deploy robust conservation framework and actionable mitigation strategies. Our approach focuses on long-term sustainability through several key pillars. So, first, we must prioritize the protection of remaining natural forests and actively restore degraded forest patches to give these animals their rightful habitat. Crucially, establishing ecological corridor is essential to connect fragmented habitat, allowing population to migrate safely. Along waterways preserving riparian buffer zone help mitigate human-wildlife overlap near river. On the corporate and agricultural front, we advocate for the strict implementation of RSPO and MSPO sustainable certification by closely monitoring high conservation value area and fostering strong cooperation between government and private sector. We can transition from conflict to coexistence. So, by successfully implementing this framework, we unlock a multitude of environmental and economical benefits. First, structured mitigation directly reduce orangutan mortality, stopping the population decline. Second, it improves habitat connectivity, ensuring healthier ecosystem and biodiversity. And third, this action provide the foundation that support long-term species survival. Ultimately, this is not just about conservation, it promotes sustainable agricultural development. By safeguarding the environment, we secure international sustainable market access, providing that economic progress and wildlife preservation can thrive hand in hand.
Next, I will explain about the stakeholders' responsibilities. So, for the first one is the government agencies. Their responsibilities is to strengthen the environmental regulation, enforce environmental impact assessment, and prevent illegal deforestation. Their responsibility is also expand the protected area and fund conservation program. Next is the plantation companies. Their responsibility is to protect forest patches, establish wildlife corridor, and follow MSPO and RSPO standard. Their responsibility is also is to train worker on wildlife management. So for the local communities, their responsibilities is to report the illegal hunting of the orangutan, participate in the conservation program, especially for the orangutan, and support the environmental education. Besides, as we can see here, other organizations also can take the responsibilities to conserve the orangutan in the real life. For example, the NGO, their responsibility is to conduct the conservation program, organize environmental awareness campaign, and restore the degraded habitats. The last responsibilities of the NGO is to rescue the displaced of orangutan. Next is for the researcher. Their responsibilities is to monitor the orangutan population in the real life. They also study the habitat requirement for the orangutan and develop conservation technologies of the for the orangutan. They also provide the scientific recommendation or knowledge to the public or communities. For the consumer, their responsibilities is to purchase the certified sustainable palm oil, encourage environmentally responsible companies, and support the sustainable supply chain. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Now, let us look at our recommendation for sustainable management. To fix this problem, we need a complete strategy that involves everyone. First, we must strengthen our laws and increase forest patrols to stop illegal logging and hunting. Next, we need to protect more forest areas and expand wildlife corridors. These corridors are green tea pathways that allows orangutans that allow to walk safely through plantation to look for food. We also need to promote our SPO and MSPO certifications so that companies farm responsibly. At the same time, education is key. By teaching local communities and workers about wildlife, we can replace fear with understanding. Finally, by funding scientific research and getting governments, companies, and NGOs to work together as a team, we can create a sustainable future where both humans and orangutans can survive. To conclude our presentation, the conflict between humans and orangutans is a direct result of losing our natural forests. While the palm oil industry is incredibly important for our economy and jobs, we cannot ignore the environmental costs. The good news is that we can fix this. By building safe pathways for wildlife, enforcing stricter laws, and supporting sustainable palm oil, we can create a world where economic progress and wildlife can thrive together. It is our shared responsibility to protect these intelligent animals before they disappear forever. Thank you very much and goodbye.